Hi, my name is Lily Jacobs, and this is my comprehensive final project for sports facility and event management. So for this project, I designed a hypothetical full operations plan for the Dallas Athletic Club, or the DAC. It is a real multi-sport country club in Mesquite, Texas. All of this is going to be based on the hypothetical building of the golf course as if it had not been there. But because I've been there before, I will tie in some of my own real life experience. So to start out, we're going to start with the mission and vision statements that I have come up with for the Dallas Athletic Club. So the DAC exists to bring people together through sports, hospitality, and simply put, joy. We're committed to a safe, sustainable, and inclusive environment for our members, their families, guests, and the surrounding Mesquite and Dallas community. DAC is a place where community is built and fun is fostered. The vision statement is to be a leader among sports facilities in the region, one where environmental preservation, accessibility, and service stand as our guiding pillars, and athletic excellence matters just as much, but it is never treated as an idle placed above them. So while we are all that to say, this is separate from my vision statement, but all that to say, even though we are a multi-use sport facility, we want to place environment, accessibility, and giving back to the community with the most importance, with the same level of importance that we would treat our sports programs. All that to say. So I'm going to start out with the facility concept that I have come up with based on the real design of the Dallas Athletic Club. So this is a private multi-sport country club located in Mesquite, Texas, so East Dallas. It's 400 acres with 2 18-hole golf courses, 10 tennis courts, 4 pickleball courts, 1 basketball court in the kids area, a fitness center, and then a pool complex. The target population is pretty broad. We're going to have obviously our member families who are paying, junior athletes rising up and trying to figure out what sports that they like, so elementary all the way to high school age. Partner programs like SMU Golf who are allowed to come out in exchange for some sponsoring for us. And then, of course, corporate groups for networking, if they want to rent the space for dinners, things like that. I chose the DAC, as I said, because of my connection with it. I live pretty close, and my family's never been a member there. I've gotten to eat dinner there twice though because of family friends, and I think that they do a really good job of customer service, making sure that the experience is done well and it's done right. And I still get to go fish with those family friends on Mondays whenever they're closed. You don't have to be a member to do that, which just has put a good taste in my mouth of them. They're a great facility, and I know a lot of people that have really enjoyed being members there. For the planning and design strategy, the zoning will be done by activity. So when you drive in, there will be the clubhouse to greet you. It will be gated, and then we'll have our tennis courts, pickleball courts, so the racket sports area, and then the clubhouse with the cafe, and then leading back, once you come through the back side of the clubhouse, will be our 2 18-hole golf courses. Hole 9 for both of those will meet back at the clubhouse if needed for a snack or a break, and then all of the design choices will be chosen by the leadership in energy and environmental design, or LEED, as we have learned through this past semester, just to make sure that HVAC zoning, daylighting, permeable parking, just as examples, are all up to standard. And safety is designed from the start, so we're going to have lighting detection on both of our courses, lit cart paths, non-slip pool decking, ADA graded sidewalks, things like that, just to make sure we're being safe and hopefully avoiding accidents where we can. Stakeholder engagement strategy. So this is pretty similar to our target market of who's involved, but a big part of our stakeholders will also be the people overseeing our water and environmental compliance. We want to make sure that we're following all rules for that. And if we have vendors for outsourcing food, and then supplying our pro shop sponsors and things like that, and then our families, of course, the staff that comes in to help, leadership, and then the partner programs like SMU Golf. So the engagement strategy for this is really just going to be listening. I want all of the stakeholders to not just assume or maybe think that they're being heard, but I want them to know it 100%. There'll be a hotline where they can submit requests 24 hours of the day. We're always open to suggestions, but if any big decision is made, I want to make sure that there's a roundtable being done. I want to make sure that the community has a vote on it. And while we can't do this for everything, of course, the big choices I think that they should be involved in. And of course, the key to success is being willing to take criticism. So if somebody thinks that we are doing something wrong, then we want to listen to that and find it as an opportunity for growth and not take it negatively. So for sustainability initiatives, sustainability is going to be a very big pillar of this plan. For water, we're going to have a smart irrigation system. So there's going to be soil moisture sensors when the grass is getting dry for the water to come on. So it'll probably be in the middle of the night, hopefully, just as it's more sustainable to do that than in the 100-degree weather in Texas. So this should overall cut coarse water use by around 25%. And then for energy, we will phase in LED lighting and transitioning all of our golf courts over to electric or hybrid. And these are more expensive, so it will be a process for about a year. And then for waste, we're going to be expanding our composting and recycling and cutting out single-use plastics. So it might be more expensive on the front end to have to throw away our old plastic things. I wanted to use the rest of the plastic things and then slowly start getting compostable cutlery, things like that, where we can, not in the dining room, but for the golf course for simple snacks, things like that. And then all of this will be tracked through annual water and energy audits, and then a carbon footprint calculator, which will be consistent with our EPA management guidance. And then projecting this will save about $240,000 a year in water and energy savings once fully phased in. So once we have those carts switched over and we're not having to put gasoline in them, and then with a smart watering system, this should save us quite a bit of money. So for ADA and accessibility, we're going to do all that we can on the front end of construction. So pool lifts, adaptive single rider golf carts, accessible tee boxes, adaptive sports clinics, sensory friendly hours, things like that. We just really want to make sure that people with any disability feel seen, and if they speak a different language, we are going to do everything in our power to be able to communicate with them. So for the operational plan, we're going to be running with one general manager with 6 department heads. So we'll have golf, racket sports, aquatics, and fitness will be together, food and beverage, grounds, and then membership. So the scheduling will run through an online tee time and court booking service, and it'll coordinate member play if you're wanting to do junior clinic, that sort of thing. And then a typical week reserves weekday mornings for ground and maintenance lessons, and then weekly afternoons for open member and junior play. And then the weekends will be reserved for tournaments and events. On the equipment side, preventative maintenance schedules for the cart fleet and turf equipment will help us keep us proactive instead of reactive. So we're not going to wait for something to go wrong. We really want to be on this and have a schedule of when things are going to get done. So if they're not getting used, that's when we'll call in our maintenance staff and they will get things done. So risk management is the next section I'll be going over. The biggest physical risks on our courses are going to be lightning and then heat exposure. So we will be building in a lightning detection system that clears the course before storms are there so that people know. Of course, they have their cell phones, but we really just want them to be safe. AEDs should be placed across the property, full first aid kits included with an EpiPen. All of our staff will be CPR and first aid trained. It might be a cost in the beginning to do this, but we just really want our members to feel super safe. Shelter locations will be designated and members will know exactly what to do. They will sign waivers, assumption of risk agreements, and we will have to keep up to date on our current liability insurance. And the goal is that when something goes wrong, we've already rehearsed the response and we're ready for it. So for crowd management and event safety, so for a large event, for example, let's say we have an SMU golf tournament that takes place, we're going to start with parking and shuttle logistics. Entry is going to be credentialed and with staff security checkpoints, and then first aid stations are scattered throughout the course to give hydration for the players. And then staff will coordinate in real time over a radio and PA protocol if anything's going wrong or just a schedule of things. And then after each event, we will have a staff debrief on what worked, what didn't, what we want to do different in the future so we don't repeat the same mistakes. For the financial side, DAC's projected annual income in my hypothetical case will be $8.5 million. This will specifically be from membership dues, event and tournament fees, food and beverage, pro shop lessons, and then sponsorships. But our operating costs will be around $7.9 million, leaving us $600,000 net income each year. That'll get put hopefully back into the community and sustainability products. And that's another thing where we really want our stakeholders to feel involved. They're going to help us choose what to do with this budget. So, there will be a one-time capital investment of about $2.4 million over the first 3 years that will cover our sustainability products, so the irrigation system, LED, electric cart transition, and then ADA facility upgrades. And then, but with the water and energy savings that we will have of around $240,000, the capital investment pays for itself in roughly 5 years, and then the savings can become recurring funds that we can reinvest into the community. So for ethical and legal considerations, DAC has to stay compliant with ADA, environmental and water use, labor law, liability insurance, fair wages, of course, transparent pricing, and equitable access tiers backed by need-based scholarship funds. So membership isn't only available to those who can pay full price. We want this to feel that people can come, and if there's a kid that wants to play golf or tennis, they should have the opportunity to do that through a scholarship foundation. So I think a real test of leadership is in your ability to how you respond in dilemmas. So for example, when delaying a water conservation upgrade, this would save money short term, but conflicts with the long term would be our stewardship commitment, is we would really just be saving ourselves and not giving back. So this plan commits in writing to choosing the harder choice, which is going to be prioritizing long-term, longevity for the environment over short-term margin. And this ties in Proverbs 21:20 really well. So the wise store up and use resources carefully, but the foolish burn through them. We want to be like the wise person, where we are really stewarding our resources well. The community engagement is all about our relationships. So DAC does partner with Mesquite ISD, local sports nonprofits, and then SMU athletics. Outreach can happen through social media, newsletters, and then periodic community needs assessments. And then as I said earlier, our survey data through how these events are going will help us figure out what we need to do better. Overall, this to tie in some faith reflection, Genesis 2:15 describes humanity's calling to work and take care and tend to the garden. So this just shows that we need to steward what we have well. As a hypothetical owner of this incredible golf course, it's a lot of responsibility to steward and make sure all these moving pieces are used well. But I want to do that, and even if it costs more money, it's worth it in the long run. And then Matthew 25:40 shifts responsibility towards people. So whatever we do for the least of these, we do for Christ. And that just reframes stakeholder engagement, accessibility, and fair staff treatment as it's a service. It's not just good business practice. And then finally, I've kind of touched on Proverbs 21:20 with the financial and resource decisions. So the wise store up and use resources carefully while the fool burns through them. That's exactly the logic behind investing in efficiency up front rather than cutting corners. So we don't want to wait for something to happen. We want to make sure that we are doing the hard now. We're taking the time to really be safe in construction and changing over things to be better for the environment. So we're long-term benefiting the environment, still stewarding our resources well, and being smart. So we want this to be the foundation of what the DAC is, to tie in a faith aspect, and just make sure that everyone's on the same page with that, the entire team. So to close, this whole project just kind of tied together sustainability, inclusion, operations, and faith-informed ethics at the DAC, and stewarding this land well, serving the people who use the facility, and running the numbers responsibility all come from the idea that leadership is a form of service. It's not just management, and it's a calling. And this is a building that hypothetically would love to be able to lead. It's not a calling I've ever been personally drawn to, but I know that some people are, and I have great respect for those people. So thank you so much for watching. My references will be on my Google Doc, as well as some of my outline. Thank you so much.